At the 2019 Dubai Muscle Show, Siddique Farooqi, joined now by the man known as Larry Wheels. Larry, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me today. Thank you.
So now, Larry, when we talk about social media sensations, we talk about viral sensations, I am not going to use that term on you. The reason for that is because anyone could become a social media sensation. Somebody with a high-pitched voice singing a song, and now all of a sudden they get a million hits on YouTube, they're a sensation.
Right.
You feed social media in a way where people come to your page, they come for your content, they want to be entertained, they want to see freakish feats of strength. Well, let's start from the beginning. The name Larry Wheels, where did that come from?
This happened years ago, back when I was about 17 years old. The guy who got me into powerlifting in the first place just started calling me Wheels because my last name is Williams. And I was lifting crazy weights, strongest guy in the gym at a very early age. And I said, why wheels? Because he's saying, well, the plates you're lifting are wheels. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
I thought it had to do with your legs.
No,
I think a lot of people probably call that.
Massive wheels, as you can see, but it's not the reason.
Because of the weights.
Because of the weights, yeah.
Interesting. So, okay, so you originally from St. Martin, correct, in the Caribbean?
No, I spent 3 years there when I was between 12 and 15. I was born and raised in New York City.
Right, so you're a New Yorker,
yeah,
like myself. You're in Dubai now. You're living in Dubai. How long have you been here, and what is the purpose of being here in Dubai for your training purposes and everything that you do with powerlifting?
So, I have to backtrack all the way to early this year in January and February when I was training with Hafþór Björnsson. And
no big deal, by the way, right? I mean,
that was
Hafþór Björnsson, you know.
That was the best 2 months of my life so far. I mean, I never had a better time training anywhere in the world. I'm actually going to go back next year for another month of training with him because there's nothing like it. And anyone who wants to have the most intense training experience of their life, you have to go to his gym, Thor's Power Gym in Iceland. But,
in Iceland, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not to mention, Iceland is also a beautiful country, and I have nothing bad to say about it. And it's not as cold as you might think. It gets very windy and rainy, but it's not any colder than New York, so that was a pleasant surprise. But towards the end of that training cycle with Thor, about mid-February, is when he started telling me, well, how far do you want to take strongman? And I said, well, as far as I can take it. I have a lot of years on me left, and I just started getting into it because I was like, well, I wanted to wait till I packed on more size, but I was like, well, that's going to take some time, so I might as well learn some technique in the meanwhile. And he said, okay, well, why don't you go to Dubai? Because here, there's something called the World's Ultimate Strongman. And they invited me, because of Thor, he put in the word for me, to do a 6-week incubator program where they would teach me strongman from one of their coaches here. His name's Mark Boyd, over at Emirates Strength and Warehouse Gym. And he taught me how to do stones better and yokes and everything else. And that's what got me here in the first place, that 6-week training program to learn strongman.
Where did it all begin for you? I remember reading an article and it talked about how you were a skinny kid growing up. How did you discover weights, and how did that develop into a passion, a love for powerlifting? And the reason I ask you that is because when I ask bodybuilders in general, right, where did it all begin, many of them will say, well, playing a sport, got injured, but I fell in love with lifting weights. Others will say, well, you know what? I love powerlifting. I love that exercise factor at first before I got into bodybuilding. What's your story? How did it all begin for you?
Well, it started when I was in St. Martin. I dealt with lots of bullying. I was very skinny, low self-esteem. And they would pick on me because they thought I was wealthy because I was from New York.
Have they seen you now, by the way?
Probably. Actually had one of them, who used to be a bully, reach out to me and say, hey, come by my store when you go to St. Martin again, like nothing happened, you know, but I forgive and forget. I'll probably will see him and, you know, make amends with that. But bullying, low self-esteem, and then nothing better to do. While I was out there, I couldn't go to school. The only English school in the island was private, and my mother couldn't afford it. It was way too expensive. And the only other option was a French or Dutch school, right? There's a French side of the island and a Dutch side. So I don't know French or Dutch. So what I ended up doing for 2.5 years is riding my bike. And when I got old, I just decided to start doing some push-ups and pull-ups, just to tire myself out from just having nothing better to do with myself. And I just ended up getting addicted to it. And
so that translated when you came back to New York, correct?
Absolutely. And then, so this thirst to go to a gym, because all I could do is at-home calisthenics, like push-ups, sit-ups. I even took a broomstick and some cinder blocks to try and get bicep curls, because I wasn't old enough to go to a gym in St. Martin. I had to be 16. So when I finally got back to New York, I immediately joined the gym before I went back to school. And I just felt even in more love with it, met the right people, always hanged around older kids who were more experienced and taught me how to work out. And then a couple years after that is when I met a veteran who did powerlifting in the military. And he taught me what it was about. He was like saying, well, you gotta train like 3 times a week and do 1 rep maxes, and it's not all that fun. I was like, well, that sounds fun to me. So I switched from just wanting to get big arms and a big chest to wanting to be the strongest guy in the gym, eventually the state, country, world, and yeah.
So how did it go from a passion for lifting to the point where you say to yourself, I could legitimately make a career out of this passion that I have?
Well, YouTube helped with that. I would go on YouTube and I compare myself with other 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And then eventually I started realizing, like, well, I'm up there with some of the strongest guys out there right now. I remember following guys in powerlifting, like Pete Rubish and Chris Hickson, Eric Bridge, some guys who are just crazy freak lifters. And I thought to myself, well, in another couple of years, I could be right up there with them. I'm very close as of now. So that was my drive to start competing. But not only that, but I find competing brings out the best in you. By the time I was 18, when I had my first competition, I had already been training for 4 or 5 years, and I needed a more serious goal to work towards, rather than just looking good in the mirror or hitting a PR in the gym. I needed something to bring the best out of me, and I found that was competing.
Well, let's talk about now. You mentioned YouTube. You look at the landscape of social media, YouTube, the web, and you provide content that powerlifters, bodybuilders, anybody that wants to go to the gym, they use that for motivation. When you first started, do you ever think you'd be in that kind of a position where you would now be the inspiration to a whole new crop of would-be powerlifters and bodybuilders?
Oh, absolutely not, because when I first got into powerlifting, 18 years old, the sport wasn't very big. It's definitely grown so much since then. And powerlifting is such a niche sport. There's no doubt about that. Bodybuilding is much greater and has a much bigger audience following. So when I thought to myself, even if I'm one of the best powerlifters out there, I never saw myself being where I'm at today and having the support that I have today.
But you're a bodybuilder as well, so for those that may not be aware, you're an IFBB pro, correct?
Oh, not yet. Not yet.
I mean, you're an aspiring.
Absolutely.
Right. So when we look at your path right now, what got you into bodybuilding? As far as, I mean, you have there are different paths. I mean, as far as the diet, as far as the actual regimen is concerned, what got you intrigued into a more disciplined, in terms of diet, into the bodybuilding track?
One of my idols was Stan Efferding, brilliant man, and he's an IFBB pro bodybuilder and had a world record, all-time world record in powerlifting. And at the tender age of, what, I think 48, 47 years old, so he was just impressive all across the board, and I wanted to be like him. I said, well, if he can do it, why not me? You know, and that's why I decided to jump into bodybuilding, because I wanted to be more like my idol, and I found out that I really loved it. I always loved it from the beginning. It's what got me into lifting in the first place, years back, 11 years ago. And I definitely know I have the potential to be a pro. I don't know how far beyond being a pro in bodybuilding I'm going to go. I'm taking 1 year at a time right now.
Talk to us about the obvious difference, the diet. For you in particular, what is the difference between your powerlifting diet and your specific bodybuilding diet?
Oh, right now I'm working with Matt Jansen, and he's doing my nutrition for powerlifting and strongman. And I'm having 2 cups of juice every meal, 3 shakes with ice cream. It's an entirely different diet in every single way than bodybuilding, where bodybuilding, I'm just trying to cram as much chicken, steak, and rice as I can. And then I drop the rice, the carbs, a few weeks out. It's a lot more simple and straightforward, much more difficult. I find force feeding to be easier than cutting, because my body wants to lose weight, have a small appetite. Always find myself having to force feed. So I find bodybuilding that's much more difficult.
Do your bodybuilding friends ever look at you and kind of like, you mean you get to eat this and eat that? And...
Oh, all the time, yeah, all the time.
So, given your track right now for powerlifting, and obviously given our audience, hardcore bodybuilding fans, is pursuing bodybuilding still on the agenda, or right now are you really more committed on the powerlifting side?
So, to answer that question, all of my goals that I have in mind for each sport, powerlifting, strongman, bodybuilding, I need to pack on more size to fill out my frame. To be competing amongst the best world's strongest man, I need more size. To be a pro bodybuilder, I need more size. To take the records I want in powerlifting, I need more size. So I'm waiting to the end of next year when I pack on about another 30, 40 pounds, I'll be about 330, 340-ish. Then I'll have a real strong chance getting my pro card and being a serious competitive bodybuilder.
When one sees Larry Wheels, or if you Google Larry Wheels, or you type his name into YouTube or Instagram, I feel as if the next thing that comes up is PR, or something along those lines. People always want to see you push the envelope, push the envelope. At what point do you say to yourself, all right, I'm doing this because I want to be the best powerlifter I possibly can, versus, I gotta film this because this is gonna look sick on my social media or on my YouTube?
Yeah, for me, there's no doubt that's a challenge. Trying to grow my brand, grow my social media, be entertaining, be interesting, and also trying to perform on the platform. I'm still struggling to find that balance, but each year I get more disciplined and I learn a bit more, whether it's the easy or hard way.
Let's talk about some of your PRs. What are some of the PRs that you could share? Let's start with your squat.
The best squat I've done is 900 pounds and sleeve, 410 kilograms.
Chest.
Best bench I've done is 675 pounds, 370 kilograms. And
Bicep curls.
Bicep curl, good. 1 rep max bicep curl?
Let's do that.
I don't think I've tried that yet. That's another one coming.
What's another one that you could share that was gonna blow everybody's minds?
One that's...
Any PR that you've established that you look back and you're like, how the heck did I do that?
Oh yes, I think everyone would agree when I strict military press, 440 pounds, 200 kilograms. I think that got the most attention out of anything I've ever done. Yeah.
When did you start to notice on your social media or your YouTube channel that, holy crap, I mean, these people are eating up things that I'm putting out there, and how did that shape, sort of the mold in which you're releasing content? Because you are now, for lack of a better phrase, you are internet famous, you are social media famous. People come to Instagram to see what you're up to. They come to YouTube to see your latest feat in the gym.
Absolutely. In the last year, I want to say a little over 12 months, I went from, I think, 200,000 Instagram to about 1.5 or 1.6 million now. For the last year, I just had the right blend of PRs, crazy lifts, a great collab, Bradley Martin, Hafþór Björnsson, a few others off the top of my head I can think of right now, but collab, PR, traveling over the world, getting my name worldwide. So yeah, I want to say like about last summer.
So again, given our audience and given a lot of the audience here, they're most familiar, I feel as if, with the Arnold Strongman. Now, I know Dave Palumbo made a video last year basically saying that we need to see you on that stage. What is the process for getting on that stage, and should we expect to see you on the Arnold Strongman stage anytime soon?
Well, I actually am going to the Arnold's in Columbus, but I'm going to be taking 2 records when I'm there in powerlifting, and then the following year, 2021, is when I'll be doing the Arnold's. Hopefully, I'll be doing the Arnold Pro Strongman. So there is a qualifier.
What's the process for qualification?
You need to be top 3 or win Arnold qualifying show. So for me, last year that was the LA Fit Strongman event there. Yeah, I had to win that show, and then I would have qualified to go to the Arnold Amateur. And to go to the Arnold Pro, where Thor and all the other giants are, you have to win the Arnold Amateur.
When you mentioned Thor and obviously some of the legends of powerlifting, when you think about your aspiration, what's the end game? How far do you want to go? What's the absolute goal of yours when it comes to powerlifting?
When it comes to strongman, I'm trying to be number one. And it might seem a bit ambitious right now, but Thor's 30, Eddie took it when he was like 29 or 30, I'm 25. I have years to catch up, and I believe I will. And with powerlifting, I have a couple world records that I'm looking forward to, like the one held by RXMuscle, Bray Williams, and sleeves. But once I take those 2 records in powerlifting, I'm going to be focused only on strongman and bodybuilding. I'm going to leave powerlifting alone for a long time because I want to get more serious at bodybuilding and strongman.
Let's talk about, I mean, again, we talk about Hafþór Björnsson. Do you have any aspirations as far as crossing over to acting or something to the effect of where now your personality is in a show on camera?
Oh, for sure. Right now, I'm weaseling my way in, trying to get my foot in the door. But there's no doubt that I'm not going to be hitting PRs forever, and I don't want my life to depend on smashing a PR.
But you're a young guy. You're 25. Right. I mean, you're in the prime of a potential acting career, no?
That is true. That is true. But right now, I'm just creating the necessary connections and slowly working my way in, so that by the time I'm 30 and ready to wrap up all the PRs and the bodybuilding shows and all that, I have another career lined up for me, ready to go. I can just change directions. You know,
when we talk about your extreme lifts, we talk about social media, people want extreme, extreme, extreme. Even your injuries become news because it's extreme. Last year it was a bicep tear. About a month ago, I think you put out a video that said, well, it was a career-threatening injury or something to that effect. You know, obviously there was speculation. What do you make, first of all, how are you health-wise? And second, what do you make of people being so intrigued by your injuries?
I've had over a dozen injuries over the last couple of years. Just a couple months ago, actually this summer, I tore my bicep here at the shoulder. I tore my TFL on my ankle. I tore my infraspinatus on my rotator cuff, and that's just half the year. You know, previous year I had a quad tear and a pec tear, and I think people are intrigued right now because they're wondering how I keep coming back from these injuries all the time. At every expo or gym I go to, people are saying, well, I have this injury, that injury, and they don't know how to come back from it. So I think they're looking to me for inspiration because I always come back bigger and stronger and better. And I'm always putting up my rehabilitation process on YouTube, walking them through it with my physical therapist and giving them quality information every time I run into an injury. Because injury is part of the sport, no matter what you're doing. Any sport involves injury at the highest level. Even at the amateur level, I remember I got the most injuries ever when I first started working. I got no idea what I was doing. So now the injuries are less frequent, but the recovery process is the same, like whether you're amateur or pro. You got to visit a physical therapist right away, get an MRI, get an x-ray, like know exactly what it is before you start going back to the gym. You know, I think the worst thing you can do when you get an injury is go on Google and be a Google doctor, and then, or leave it to your gym bros to tell you what it is, and then you never get it properly checked out by a professional.
I think it's impressive what a professional approach that you have to all this from the whole perspective of being a student of the history of the sport. I mean, you seem to know the whole history. I mean, you look at this from a perspective of, you know, there's a love of the sport, there's a love of the history of the sport. Would you classify yourself as that, being someone who observes everyone, observes the best, and tries to pick a little bit from everyone to be the absolute best?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely the way to put it. Yeah.
Favorite cheat meal?
Cinnabon.
Most calories that you would eat in a day when you're in full throttle mode?
Oh, at least 10,000. At least 10,000. Just between all the fruit juice, 2 cheat meals, I mean, it easily was over 10,000. And my belly is just like a foot out from my waist. It's ridiculous, yeah.
When is the next time we're going to see you compete at the next powerlifting or strongman event?
Well, I'll be at the Arnold's this year in Columbus, 2020. Yeah, and after that, I'll be doing the Live Lift Championship Giants Live in April. And yeah, 2020 is going to be a big year. It's going to be a big year.
Finally, the reception that you get from the fans here in the Middle East, and just about everybody that's come here to the Dubai Muscle Show. We saw you before you came on stage. You were absolutely mobbed. Took you about 5 minutes just to get through that crowd to make it onto the stage.
Yeah, Dubai has been showing me a ton of love and support, and it's not what I expected when I first got here because I grew my following in America. So when I came out to the Middle East, I having not been on here ever before this year, I was very shocked to see that my name reached this mark and that I was touching people out here. So I'm very grateful for all of you guys for tuning into my content because, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for you guys, and it's really appreciated. And this goes out to everyone watching my YouTube channel specifically. You know, you guys are the best. I love you guys.
Well, Larry, pleasure. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and words with the audience today.
Thanks so much for having me, man.
All right. Any questions for Larry Wheels? Raise your hand. We will pass the microphone to you. Gentlemen over there.
Hi, Larry.
What's going on, man?
Who is your favorite training partner?
Oh, that's a tough one. But that's a tough one. But I have to say Hafþór. There's no one who brings more intensity and power to the gym than Hafþór. I love Andrew. I love Black Tom Cruise. I love all my other training partners. But
I didn't hear Bradley Martin's name. I mean, I would have thought that would have been it, but.
You know, Bradley Martin is super charismatic. I love him. He is really a people person, and he looks you in the eye when he talks. He's very personable. He listens. He doesn't talk over anybody. He's a great guy. But as far as who's gonna push me the most, it goes to Hafþór, for sure. I mean, there's nothing like training with a real life giant, you know.
Thanks for your time.
No worries.
Any other questions?
Any others?
Yeah, in the black and
Hey Larry,
What's up, man?
who's your favorite bodybuilder from the golden era?
From the golden era, well, I mean, Ronnie Coleman is my favorite bodybuilder of all time, and I finally had the chance to shake his hand yesterday.
What was that like? You got to meet him yesterday. You get to talk to him at all?
Yeah, I got to talk to Ronnie for a few minutes yesterday. Luckily, I had that opportunity, and you know, despite he's been having a hard time lately, as we all know, but he's still in really positive spirits, and that's really cool to see. Absolutely.
Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, I got a question. You, Ronnie Coleman, in his prime, in the gym, who's coming out on top?
If we're talking about the squat bench deadlift, I hate to say it, but I got him benched out. Anything else, I think he's gonna smoke me. I saw his leg press, and I haven't even come close yet. I don't know how he does it, but anything from the squat bench deadlift, he's got me. I hate to say it. He's the man.
Good? All right, awesome. Hey, Larry. That was fun. That was fun. Yeah, no, I think...
Hello. When will be the next time when we'll see the 1,000-pound deadlift?
Ooh, I want to say, if not by the end of next year, definitely 2021. I gotta hit 950 first, but 1,000's coming, 100%. Especially with straps on.